Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
Hello, Raider fans. This is Andrew Miller, voice of your Roane County Raiders, inviting you to join us for another exciting week of Raider football on WVRC 104.7 FM. Last week, the Raiders battled through a tough first half and a gritty Lincoln County team finally dispatching the Panthers 34-6 and earning a 2-0 start to the season. This week, an even more ferocious group of Panthers heads to County Stadium. It's the long-standing rivalry with the Clay County Panthers. Raider football is brought to you all season long by these supporting sponsors: Penna's Barbershop, Roane General Hospital, Macintosh Hardware, Furniture and Appliance, Jack Garrett Ford, Ashley Insurance, Joel Baker Law PLLC, APS Air Production and Service Inc., Old Fences Realty, Stats Pharmacy, Anita Harold Ashley for Circuit Judge, Phoenix Nutrition, Honest Fred's Flooring, D&D Motors, Hildreth Supply, Family Healthcare, Groves Auto, Board Depew Realty, Norman L. Daniels State Farm Agent, Hardman Supply, Josh Downey for Circuit Judge, ECI Environmental Compliance Inc., Carpenter's General Store, Minnie Hamilton Health System, Boca Valley Bank, Spencer McDonald's, INS, Intelligent Network Security, Rich Top Rentals, Spencer Cash Saver, Brandon Dental, DW Excavating LLC, Spencer Pizza Hut, Kirby Insurance, Philip Deaver for Roane County Sheriff, Calhoun Banks, and the Player of the Game Award sponsored by Willard C. Starcher Auto Parts. Join us this Friday night. Pregame coverage begins at 7:05 p.m. with kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. right here on your sports leader, WVRC 104.7 FM. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and your dogs, your pets, your kids. It is Wednesday night, once again, episode 3 of the Raider Review. My name is Andrew Miller, as per usual. I don't think I'm going to change that anytime soon, although I could. There's some names that I've had in my mind over the years that I might want to change my name to, if I were so inclined. I don't think I will, though, right now. One name that is changing here in studio with me tonight, our good buddy John Penna is already on his nonsense, as per usual. He tends to skip out on Raider Review shows if he just gets tired of doing them. It just took 2 episodes previous, and he is already excusing himself to go do other things that are of little importance. So, in studio, we brought the backup QB and first-team punter. I don't know if he can still do that these days. Toby Ford, our athletic director. Toby, thanks for joining us. In fact, I should have given you Coach Burdett's mic, because it's a longer mic.
Longer.
And you like to hang back.
He's shorter than me.
This is true. So when he does come in, it'll work.
Taking John Penna's place, do I get to take walk-ins tomorrow and give haircuts?
You get the money from him, at least.
All right.
If nothing else, Tobe. Nah, John's got some work to do in his new edition, and he's got what they call a honey-do list. I wouldn't know about that stuff as a single man. Yeah, he's got himself a honey-do list, and I think the official word was, will you please help me finally get the kitchen set up so we can actually cook our children a meal? And so that includes stove, microwave, kitchen sink.
Yeah, but that also gets him cooked meals.
It also gets him cooked meals. So I'm wondering how much of that was the wife telling him and how much of it was him just saying, okay, no more cold cuts. It's time for a hot meal here in the new edition. So he is out tonight, but thank goodness Toby Ford's here. And we got a lot to talk with Toby about. I like to get you in early in the season if I can, because you have the you have your eye on and your thumb on the pulse of Raider athletics. Got to thank Joe McDonald again. Thank you, Joe. I don't know what he did, but the video quality when we started this thing was fuzzy, furry, and it was like looking through trees. Could be sunspots as we talk.
Around here somewhere?
Listen, Joe has this unique quality to make his way into all the computers in this building with a couple of clicks of a button.
Interesting.
It's awesome for me, but don't ever get on his bad side because he could make your life pretty miserable. Joe, thank you very much. I don't know what he did. He must have hit some button that made the stream quality perfect because I looked down and there it is. I just tried cleaning the camera off is all I knew. I don't know how to do anything else. I am of the technological ability where you turn it off, turn it on, unplug it, plug it back in.
Yes.
And if that doesn't work, call Joe.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have to call Joe. He just did it.
Well, I sent him a text message.
Oh.
He was asking about my day, which was not great, having some issues at the house. We'll not talk about that. And so he said, did you get it figured out? And I just said, streaming quality is not good. Yeah. And he said, logging in now.
No problem.
And he has got it fixed. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate that. We've got a lot to talk about this week on the Raider Review. First off, Toby, you were busy last week. Obviously, we talk about the game that you were there at the game Friday night, but you, in the last couple of years, have been a man well-traveled. This summer notwithstanding,
right?
You have been a man well-traveled in football season because you got some nephews that play some football in Kentucky. And for the first time, you got a chance Saturday to go see a nephew that is now in college.
In college, he plays at University of the Cumberlands, and they were playing at Pikeville, University of Pikeville in Kentucky there, and that's as close as they'll get to me this year. So I thought, well, I'll just drive over there and watch him play. It's probably 2 hours and 40 minutes or so not terrible, but so that was good. He didn't get to get in and kick. He's behind. The past 2 weeks, the conference special teams player of the week. That's who he's behind. So, but he's get to travel, and he's one of the. I think he's the only freshman that got a number and gets to travel.
You mentioned he's wearing the Bobby Boucher looking jersey in number 99. And it's 10 times the size of his body, and he's got some gear to work with that as well. His shoulder pads are. About 3 or 4 sizes too large for him as well. And
then his brothers are still in high school. They're juniors this year. They're twins, and one of them kicks, and one of them's a long center. So, and he's also a wide receiver. But so we got brothers that are all specialists. So they're fun to watch, exciting to watch. I'll make it down and see them a couple times this year, and then when they're seniors next year, I'll try to go watch them a bunch for their last year.
Well, that's cool that you got a chance to do that. And again, we spoke to you a couple years ago, and you were on the outs of being an athletic director, and all of a sudden, you got back into it. And so here you are again, the guy that we go to for all questions, concerns, comments, criticisms, snide remarks, whatever there is to be had. And I'm sure you get plenty of that as an AD. But let's talk about the early portion of the fall sports season for you guys. It always gets started early with golf season, so the golfers are in full swing, no pun intended. So how are things going so far? I know there was an issue with soccer first. Let's talk about that. What happened there, and what is the update?
They had, I want to say the most at any one time, they had 13 people on their team, and it takes 11 to play soccer, just to play a match. So we gave them. They start the same time football does, but by the time he let us know he only had that many kids, we gave him 2 more weeks to try to get more kids out, and they didn't. So the season got canceled for this year. We didn't cut the program. People were saying, "Oh, you cut the soccer." No, we didn't cut the soccer program. We just get it canceled for this year because it's a safety factor. Kids get hurt. Kids drop out for whatever reason, miss practice. You don't have enough people to play. Like, for instance, we had to cancel the first 2 games because he only had 10 kids eligible to play out of the 13. Didn't have enough practices yet. So it was just, okay, we're going to make a decision, and we'll try it again next year, get your people out. Well, and we didn't want to do that, but obviously it was just a decision that was made, and the credit to the kids and the parents. They went to the board meeting and talked to them and said, listen, we think we can get more of our friends out, which I wish they would have got them out earlier, but they did. So they had a meeting at school, and more kids came down, and they got up to 17. So we said, okay. So now they're still in a pickle of getting practices in and get enough kids eligible. So, but they're going to do that. So we're going to start. I've got 7 matches rescheduled. The soccer program is back up and running. The 18th, the week of the 18th, they'll start playing matches. So I think the first one's the 19th.
Okay.
I'm trying to get 2 a week. They're going to have 4 weeks before sectionals start. So they'll have 8 matches before the section starts. And
okay.
The week of October 16th, the section starts.
So they'll at least get a season in,
yes.
which is nice. After you think you maybe not having a season at all, and of course there's some kids on that team that are elder statesmen and kids that would like to have finished their careers. So
and have played for quite a long time, coming through patch and the little kids, coming all youth leagues and coming all the way through. So yeah, it would have been a shame to see it completely gone this year, but it's back, and we're back in full swing.
All right, so that's good. That's a good sign. Obviously, the golf team is in full go mode. They start early. They get their practices in very, very early, and they start playing early August.
Yeah, they only have to have one practice, so they practice one day. The same day football starts, and the next day they're off and running, playing in the Callaway Tournament Series, high school series, in the beginning of summer there, and Coach Kendall just keeps them going. Very, very full, heavy, like every day or every other day in the beginning of the season. But then it's once or twice a week throughout when the school starts. But they've been in and going for a month and a half now.
What I like about these teams is they're up and down a good bit. At this point in the program, of course, we had the years of just dominant play for, it seemed like 8 years in a row. We were just dominant in the regional, and we won 4 straight state tournaments. We always had people or teams qualify for it. We did have Emerson, of course, qualify as an individual at the end of everything, and then we had the teams qualify a couple times. But they're always in it at the end.
At the end.
They're always in it, even with a young team that you're seeing right now.
We always say peak when it matters, and they always seem to do that. So we're looking forward to maybe them doing that again.
Absolutely.
So they've had, if you watch the results in the paper, and you guys announce it every Wednesday, they've had some ups and downs this season. They had second in a few tournaments, and there's been second in others.
Yeah, there's you go to different courses. They're very difficult. You sometimes have a bad day. If anybody out there plays golf, they got to know that there are going to be days where you just can't hit anything right. You can't make a putt. You can't chip. You can't do anything. And if a team does that, it's a struggle. But there are days and there are weekends where it clicks together. And most recently, it did click together. Roane County in a match last Thursday at Roane County Golf Club. Speaking of Roane County Golf Club, we mentioned it last week. Want to do it again. The best it's been in my lifetime right now. The Roane County Golf Club, if you guys haven't been there for a long time, if you were a former golfer and you just stopped going to Roane County, I urge you to go take another look at it. Go play that course one more time, and I think you'll understand how much effort and how much success has been put into that place with that new group of owners, and they've done such a great job. Of course, Dave Hartman and his staff, the grounds crew people, and the superintendent, just unbelievable what they do.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't been out there for a little while. Of course, not this summer. I've been shacked up at the house, put away in the hospital. But anyway, I've heard the greens are the best they've ever been.
Yes.
I've heard that from numerous people.
Yeah,
so.
And they're always very accommodating, obviously. It's nice to have a hometown course, as we do. And it was good last Thursday. Roane County finishing second in a 6-team match. And they finished second to Ripley. And that's very, very impressive. Luke Hall, who last year we had in studio here as Emerson was saying her goodbyes as the lone senior. And we knew that Luke was going to be the one that came back with the most experience and was going to be looked at as the number one guy. A lot of pressure to put on a young man.
Sure.
And a lot of self-imposed pressure that he put on himself to be a better golfer. And he put the time and the work and the effort in the offseason. And it is showing a lot. He's really got some – he's trying to become a little more – consistent as the season progresses, but he's been low 40s a good bit this year, and he did a great job with a 42 for Roane County to pace Roane County to that second place in the tournament. It was Ripley in first with 167, Roane County at 185, followed by Herbert Hoover at 197. Roane County's B team. Talk about numbers. Roane County's B team finishing in fourth place in that one. Calhoun County in fifth with 224. Parkersburg Catholic with 226. And then Ravenswood with 270. So the six main teams in the B team actually came in fourth place in that event. For Roane County, again, it was Luke Hall carding a 42, which on that course is a 6 over par. Also, you had a 47 for Carter Kinder, pair of 48s for Jaden Webb and Gage Saunders. Cody Nichols with a 50. Darren Raines coming in with a 52. For the B team scores to help them to a fourth place finish, you had a couple 56s, one by Tyson Watson, one by Nick Taylor, and then a 58 by Maddox Justice, and the lone freshman on the team, Ben Nichols, with a 60. So big congratulations to both teams for Roane County. Good to have numbers that you can do that.
Good to have numbers. And I was talking to our soccer coach, Coach Taylor, and he was like, "Man, I don't understand what the numbers are." And I said, it's not just you. I said, we have 8 cheerleaders total out, 15 girls on the volleyball team came out, 5 cross-country runners for 2 teams. I said, it's not just you. I said, it's not just, they're down everywhere. I said, except for golf, we have 11. I said, that's the first year I can remember we've had 11 for golf, but that's great. More than bad.
Good numbers for them. Speaking of cross-country, we're still waiting for their first meet. Is that normal that it's later in the season? Or
There's been a few meets already, not too many, but it's nothing too super unusual, and they open up this Saturday in Clay County.
Okay.
So they'll be running.
So an opportunity there. Speaking of Lady Raider volleyball, I've spoken to a few of the ladies, and I even spoke to Coach Allie Peary about this weekend during the Mountaineer game. I said, would we rather just not talk about that Gilmer County trip right there? And she said, yeah, let's put that one out of our minds. So they did drop a really, really tough one last Thursday to Gilmer County, 3 straight sets. Not the best effort for Roane County, as they would well tell you themselves. So I'm not saying anything that they wouldn't say themselves. We're just going to shuffle that one off and not talk about it. They are 4-3-1, though, on the season early in the year, and they've got another opportunity tomorrow. They're going to host. I tell you, the early season, lots of road games, and they're only home for the one. Then they're on the road again, and then they got one more home, and then they're on the road again. So I guess the back end would be home heavy, which is nice.
Towards the end.
That'll be nice. Get all the road games out
of the way
early. So tomorrow is 6 p.m., is that correct?
The JV start at 6, followed by the varsity, and they're taking on Webster County.
And that will be a duel. Again, we'll have that on the air tomorrow evening. We'll be either for video only for the JV and then audio video for the varsity. I hope that Coach Burdett lets Coach Peary out in time to get on the air with me. We'll see.
He should.
They got their meal, though. That could take a while. I might have just doing it myself.
Peary doesn't need to eat.
This is true. He doesn't. Let him talk first, Coach, and then he can get down there. And then they'll follow that with a quad this Saturday, 10 a.m. at Work County High School. I'll be there for that one as well. Be a long day of volleyball, but I'm looking forward to Roane County picking up some wins against some very good opponents.
Yeah, it was Work, Williamstown, Charleston Catholic.
Yeah, that's going to be some good action. Couple of LKC teams, which would be nice for Lady Raiders to stack up in conference play and see how they do there. Middle school football. Don't have any midget league for you this week. That's John Penna's deal, to Coach Ford. So, sorry I didn't help you out on that one.
I would have known sooner.
If only.
I could have researched.
Yeah, if he would have told me sooner that he was skipping out on us already. 3 weeks in, Coach Burdett. 3 weeks in, and he's already making up excuses for not showing up for shows.
You act like you're surprised.
I'm not. I just was not surprised. I was surprised it was 3 weeks in. The Walton Tigers get their first win on their first opportunity of the season. Dogfight shootout at Hannon. I can't remember the final. I think it was 38-30 or 36-30 or 38-32, somewhere right around there. From the people that went down to it, said it was a back-and-forth affair in the first half. One team scored, the other team scored. One team scored, the other team scored. And Walton was actually down at the half, I believe. It was either 30-22 or 28-22, and did not allow Hannon to score in the second half, meanwhile scoring a couple the second half to take the victory. Nice. So a good start to the season for Coach Brian Kraft and the rest of those guys there and the young men in green and white. So very, very big congratulations to them for that. And Spencer Middle School also in action. They dropped a tough one to a very good Summersville program. As always, Summersville, I assume they were big. That's what you can just imagine. They were probably big, probably fast. 36-20 was the final in that one. That took place last Wednesday.
It was a good game. I got to watch before I come out. It wasn't deep into the game. It got to get into the second quarter, I guess, and very competitive. I thought they played well.
Looking for some stats on that one. I don't see any just yet, so I'll have to get those for you guys later. That'll be okay. I'll make sure to do it. We had a little bit of JV football action, Coach Ford. That's something that you used to handle years and years ago. I shouldn't say years and years ago.
It was years ago.
A few. The JV coming off the big victory on Friday night over Lincoln County, traveled on Labor Day in the brutal, hot, humid sun, and got a good win.
Went down there, and what was the final? I don't remember the final. It was
32-6, I think.
Yeah.
So very similar to the 34-6 victory. They didn't want to be outshined by the varsity. The JV did not want to be outshined by the varsity. So that's a good win to start their season off. You know, it's always difficult to get JV games in, number one.
Yeah, especially now like I said, told Coach Taylor of the soccer that it's not just his numbers are down. Numbers are down everywhere, and not just in Roane County. They're everywhere, and a lot of teams don't have JV teams. Then we play teams that are so far away that we don't want to go there on Monday night, and they don't want to come to us on Monday night. And who could blame them for that or us for that?
Yeah.
So we try to find teams closer to us that maybe have a JV team, and a lot of teams just don't have them anymore.
It makes it very difficult to try and get what you can get.
That's right. I think we have 5 scheduled right now for them. So.
Any home games? I'm looking forward to being a chain crew member again.
There are 2.
All right.
2 scheduled, but one's Braxton, and
I
don't know if they'll finish or not.
That'll be another wait and see moment.
All right, and one's Ripley, so we should have that one.
Well, we'll wait and see for that.
That's right.
Break to take, folks. Want to thank DW Excavating, our sponsor for the show. And when we come back, we'll have Coach Paul Burdett sitting patiently waiting with his peanut butter and chocolate.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 304-532-2968 for more information. DW Excavating, taking pride in our work and in our community. DW Excavating is a proud supporter of all Roane County High School athletics. Go Raiders!
Hello, Raider fans. This is Andrew Miller, voice of your Roane County Raiders, inviting you to join us for another exciting week of Raider football on WVRC 104.7 FM. Last week, the Raiders battled through a tough first half, and a gritty Lincoln County team finally dispatching the Panthers 34-6 and earning a 2-0 start to the season. This week, an even more ferocious group of Panthers heads to County Stadium. It's the long-standing rivalry with the Clay County Panthers. Raider football is brought to you all season long by these supporting sponsors: Penna's Barbershop, Roane General Hospital, Macintosh Hardware, Furniture and Appliance, Jack Garrett Ford, Ashley Insurance, Joel Baker Law PLLC, APS Air Production and Service Inc., Old Fences Realty, Stats Pharmacy, Anita Harold Ashley for Circuit Judge, Phoenix Nutrition, Honest Fred's Flooring, D&D Motors, Hildreth Supply, Family Healthcare, Groves Auto, Board Depew Realty, Norman L. Daniels State Farm Agent, Hardman Supply, Josh Downey for Circuit Judge, ECI Environmental Compliance, Inc., Carpenter's General Store, Mini Hamilton Health System, Boca Valley Bank, Spencer McDonald's, INS Intelligent Network Security, Rich Top Rentals, Spencer Cash Saver, Brandon Dental, DW Excavating LLC, Spencer Pizza Hut, Kirby Insurance, Philip Deaver for Roane County Sheriff, Calhoun Banks, and the Player of the Game Award, sponsored by Willard C. Starcher Auto Parts. Join us this Friday night. Pregame coverage begins at 7:05 p.m. with kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. right here on your sports leader, WVRC 104.7 FM.
I'll tell you what, fellas, my brain today is non-functional. I was wondering why I couldn't hear the advertisements, and I'm sure everybody else out there was like, I can't hear the advertisements. It's because I had them turned all the way down from the last time we came on the air, and I had to crank it down from, but it's been a long one, guys. It's been a long one today. Plus, I was too excited about proving to you guys that I'm very clever with my words in the promo, talking about another ferocious group of Panthers.
Yes. Genius.
Welcome back in the studio with Athletic Director Toby Ford, Coach Paul Burdett. Well, we've gone through basically what we have for the fall, so a lot of good things. Wanted to say hi to everybody out there watching us. Don Sampson from Florida says, video looks great from Florida. Said, I appreciate that.
There you go. Well, I've had two people text me. One person said, quit rubbing my head, and the other person said, I can't see because of the shininess. It's too bright.
You do have, now, I think it's Miss Leah who moves these things around to see better, and I think she put that one directly down on your noggin, not even knowing she was doing it, and it is shining bright like a diamond.
All right.
Haven't let the light shine down.
That's right. Oh.
He went old school on that. I like it. Yeah, and I also realized that YouTube is clear as day. I was watching a 30-second intro promo that we started with, and I was like, because Coach Burdett still wasn't on, and he was here for a long time before I figured that out. Man.
There's three old men in here. It's hard to figure stuff out. You know what I mean?
Especially when one doesn't even try. This one right here.
Amongst the three of us, we got like half a brain left. Thank you to Donald Stampson, though, for tuning in. Thanks to Donna May for tuning in. Angie Walker, go Raiders, absolutely. Connie Burdett making sure that Coach is where he's supposed to be. And Rodney Cox says, don't let him harass you, my bald brother.
That's right.
Bald men of the world must stick together.
Unite.
They must unite. Well, Coach, obviously, sitting in this chair for week number 3, you're feeling okay about the last 2. Not feeling great. You mentioned it in the interview with the newspaper this week. You talked about, number 1, we're not getting off to the starts we want to get off to. And number 2, some of that is because we're struggling to finish drives, finish plays, whatever it may be. But in the absence of the perfect start or whatever it may be, you guys are responding well in the second half. You're figuring out issues during game, and at halftime, those chalk talks are good for teams who need to maybe see it on the board if they're not seeing it in real time out there. Your guys are adjusting well, I think. That's the best you can expect the first couple of weeks, working out some kinks, I think.
Yeah, I think if you, as a coach, you step back and look at the big picture and realize that there's a lot of new faces out there, and we're still trying to get our bearings completely straight together. And, we've come a long ways, but last year was a very, very well-oiled machine, but it had a lot of carryover. And it's not that this year's not. We're getting there, and they get better. We've had a great week of practice. Very, very proud of them for the practice that we've had this week. But it just takes a little bit of time to get everybody on the same page, and to get the exact results that you're wanting, and so we're getting there, but we're finding ways to win, and that's a big deal. The effort's there, just little mistakes turn into big issues, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
You get a big run, and you got a holding call, and it brings it back. You get a big sack, and you get a face mask call, and it takes it 15 yards the other way. So just little things, not really so much like mental mistakes, just mistakes.
Yeah.
That hurts you. But you gotta like the way they finished, the way they've come out in both games and finished the second half and put the games away. So that's a plus.
Seems to me, I don't know, Toby, if you see this as well, it seems to me like a group that learned from last year and brought it into this year. Personal responsibility if you do make a mistake, not getting down on themselves so much, more of saying, I owe it to these guys to make up for it with a play. And the reaction is not a negative reaction. The reaction is just getting more fired up to try to fix the problem and do something good later in the game.
Right. Tighter knit group, kind of saying, sorry guys, I messed up, and now I'm going to make up for that, and better here next play. And everybody picks up on that attitude, and as the game goes on, I think we just get stronger and stronger. So.
I think we saw some guys who really did make up for some maybe mistakes early with some huge plays later part of the game. And again, just not getting down on yourself, but being accountable yourself, not saying that you make them accountable. They're accountable already.
Right. We've had a lot of talks about that. And when we didn't have to talk about that a lot last year because you had a lot of veteran guys still in there. But this year, like I said, you got some new faces, and so you got to say, hey, everybody's accountable to each other. It's not always going to be perfect. Do we strive for that? Yes. Okay. But it's not always going to be perfect, and there's going to be mistakes made. And instead of getting down on each other or getting down on yourself, tell your buddy, hey, you're all right. We all know you're better than that. You go out and do better. You can take it a different direction there, and the results aren't not as well.
Yeah.
If you start getting down on each other and complaining because somebody's not going to do anything. We also have a new policy this year: no blaming, no complaining, and no defending. If somebody messes up, that we're not going to blame. We're not going to complain about this or complain about that. And if we're being coached up, then we're not going to try to defend what we did. We're going to listen to what's being coached, and we're going to go out and put it to use. So,
just move forward.
And just go with it. So, we're going to be fine. And, I mean, a lot of people... 2-0's
nice.
A lot of people would not maybe feel the way that I feel with the 2-0 start. But I know the potential that's
exactly.
here. And I know what they're capable of, and I'm not going to give up on them and being exactly what they're capable of being. We're just scratching the surface.
One thing I knew about this group coming in is they have won a lot of games in their football lives. They know how to win. They know how to be in tough situations and get through those tough situations, whether it's perfect performance or not. They know how to win in tough situations, and that gives you that confidence that even if things aren't going great, they're not going to fold. They're not going to get mad at each other. They're not going to get down. They're just going to find ways to work through the problems that they may be having, and they're going to get the victory, period. They're going to do the best they can to get that win, because in the end, they don't ask you how. They just ask you, is it a W or an L on that column there? What's going on with it,
It's really all that matters in the end.
Well, one thing I did like is the versatility. You guys were able to show a little bit in that game. I thought that Jacob Greathouse, once again, he awards on offense just because you're putting a little bit more on him this year. Obviously, that's the goal, is to put a little bit more on him. You get him out of the pocket. He's making the right decisions to throw the ball, and he's making very good throws, and he's letting his guys do what they do well. Lane making big catches. Brandon, the catch off the back of the defender, man. And I thought, even in not catching the ball, that Coben Cottrell may have made two of the biggest plays as a receiver, coming back, adjusting to the ball, and drawing penalties on the defenders. That's big for Roane County wideouts. If you got a quarterback who's a sophomore, they're helping him too.
Well, if you remember, I chimed in at the end of last week and said, don't forget,
Yes.
Jacob Greathouse threw the ball pretty well. And I thought he did again Friday night. He's making good decisions. He's just a sophomore, and for him to have the experience that he got last year and to put that into this year and the situations that he's already been in and the throws that he's had to make, he's doing a really good job. And he's got, you guys, he's got a wealth of receivers. You got Coben, you got Lane, you got Saul, you got Brandon, you got Clay out of the backfield. All those guys can catch and then do something with it when they get down the field. So Jacob's pretty confident in his receivers, and he's not afraid to throw the ball up there and let him go get it, and that's a big deal.
Officially 10 for 14 on the night last week. They were for 121 and 2 touchdowns, both of those coming to Brandon Richardson on pretty good receptions. And, of course, Watson and Cottrell both with 4 and 3 receptions, respectively. Roane County on the ground, 186, 36 carries, and you spread the wealth a lot on that. That's very nice to see. B. Rich getting his TD with 11 carries, 61 yards. Clay Walker, he doesn't get a lot of yards, but he gets the nasty yards that you want. And now you're seeing Lane do the same thing. Boy, I thought that his second and third effort Friday night was even better than the first week.
Yeah, Lane's hard to handle just because of his size and his strength and his athletic ability. But he's just a big old body. You typically don't find running backs with that size, 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. But, man, it's nice to you got kind of a thunder lightning deal right now with handing to Brandon, handing to Lane. Then you throw the pounder, the little bowling ball play in there, and then
he's now the skid steer.
The skid steer, I get it. And as we move forward, you're going to see Saul carry the ball more. All those guys are part of that running game, and they all do a really good job, and they just kind of parallel each other really well.
I like fresh legs, so the more you can get, the better.
It's a big deal. Yep.
Defensively, I don't know how long it may have been or if it has ever been that we've had 3 separate defenders with 10 tackles apiece. But we'd had that on Friday night, and it was led by, Jacob Bunner. His job as a defensive tackle isn't always to make all the tackles. But on that night, he was a beast and a man among boys. 10 tackles, 9 solo tackles, 6 tackles for losses, and a sack. That's a performance by a D tackle.
Yeah, it's very impressive. You look out on the field on any given play, and you'll see double and triple teams. But, we talked about Jacob early on and about his size and about his strength and his athletic ability and his speed for as big as he is. He's a big deal in the interior line of that defense. So you got to figure out which one is more of a threat to you, Noah,
yeah,
or is it Bonner? All right, and typically if you try to double or triple one, the other one's making plays, and in the game 1 against Shady, the majority of those went to Noah. All right, and then last week Bunner, he was just throwing people off of him. It was an impressive night for sure.
And when those 2 guys up front do their job, it leaves those linebackers eating. And you had Clay Walker with 10 tackles. How many solo? 5 solos, 2 for losses. Lane Watson 10, 7 solos, a tackle for loss, half a sack, a pick 6. You just keep racking up those numbers for those guys. So it's like pick your poison if the 2 D tackles are doing their job without even making tackles of their own.
Yeah. If they don't make them, the guys behind them will, and then you got to, I guess you could call it a safety, but you got a deep linebacker in Brandon who's also coming downhill and making plays as well. So,
boy, does he come downhill.
So, yeah.
Man, does it look good when he hits people.
So, the defensive side of the ball has played really well, I've thought, in the first 2 games.
Another player, speaking of that, Coach, that I've been very, very pleased with his performance is Andy Jetton, stepping in as a defensive end for the first time. He's playing his position well, I think.
Yeah, Andy does a good job. He is, again, another guy that's trying to get comfortable in a new position, and he's starting to figure it out. He's not perfect every play. We talked today about some things that he did Friday night that were really good and about some things that we got to get better at. But when you go from being a corner to a defensive end, that's a big adjustment. But Andy's going to be fine. He's done a good job.
Well, let's stay on the defensive side as we transition to week number 3, Clay County coming to the turf field. And you've been tested a bit the first 2 weeks. Shady threw the ball a ton versus running the ball. I thought that about what we thought maybe with Lincoln County throw versus pass. I thought they were pretty similar in that. But you're probably not going to be tested any more than you will in the defensive backfield this week. You got a Clay County team who just absolutely wants to throw it all over the field.
Yeah, that's their game, and they're pretty good at it. The Collins does a good job of throwing the ball and moving in and out of the pocket. He's got 4 guys that he can throw to in the receiving corps, and he's got a running back that he tries to throw to a lot. Those guys all catch and move well after the catch. And, again, Collins is he's mobile, and if he feels any pressure, then he's going to pull it down and move, and not only move, but keep his eyes downfield as he's scrambling and try to find an open receiver. So definitely a challenge in front of us Friday night, without a doubt, and that's something that we're going to have to be ready to face. We're going to have to be up for the challenge.
Now, I go back to last year, and the game, 36-20 was the final score. What that didn't show, though, Coach, was finishing drives, as you mentioned. You finished with touchdowns, but you were 0 for 6, I believe, for 2-point conversions, and that's 12 points left off the board. That made that game a 2-possession ball game late, and it made it a little more stressful for you guys. Obviously, you've got the ability now to kick extra points. Is that something that you feel better about this year if this gets into one of those rock'em sock'em shootout things again?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be able to know if you want to go for the 1 point that, it's fairly consistent at this point. I mean, we've kicked 12.
9 of your last 10.
Yeah, and been, so we're 9.
And again, that snap on the one that was blocked just a little high, Jacob still was able to get it down.
Yep.
So
that's definitely it's kind of a feather in your cap, I think, just to be able to do that and be consistent with it. And if need be, we can still go for 2. But yeah,
how important is it to get off to a better start this week against Clay County? Again, healthy rivalry game now, good opportunity. They want to win after losing to Midland. In a mucky mess, of course. That field over there is not in great shape. It had rained all that day. It was sloppy. You take what you can out of that with a passing team. It didn't get a chance to really show what they can do. They're going to be fired up, as always, to come down here. So how important is it to these guys to get not a perfect start, but maybe get going a little faster?
Well, I think that's not just this week. I think it's every week. You got to be able to come out of the gates and be productive as soon as you come out of the gates. And like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect all the way through, but it's got to be productive. And we've not been as productive as we want to be in the first 2 games in the first half. And, hopefully we can kind of wrangle that back in this week and get that going, because that's going to be a big deal not only this week, but each and every week as we move forward.
Well, before we talk a little bit more about personnel issues and what's going to take here on this Friday night, we'd obviously expect a big crowd here on Friday night, Toby. And there have always been questions while there's construction going on up at the field. And so we bring it from, I don't mean to call you a horse. At least I'm not calling you the back part of the horse.
Gotcha.
To hear from the horse's mouth, the situation as far as parking is concerned. I know space incredibly limited now up at the high school field. So you guys have been putting it out and obviously sent it to us to put out. The situation is even more strict this year as far as parking is concerned up at the field itself.
Yeah, if you were there last week, you saw that they have all of their equipment, materials for the construction of the school, backed by the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So all that we used to use for parking, even when we had normal parking, is gone. So that's a lot of spaces that are gone now. So we can't get anybody up there. It's strictly handicapped. There's a few spots behind the bleachers, as always, the home bleachers. And then they did clean up that little parking lot where the track building, timing shack is.
Okay.
So people can get in there, which, believe it or not, we usually have that many people with handicap passes that come up to fill very easily. And then we try to put all the game administration, the visiting team, coaches, whatever, on the facilities building side.
Yeah.
And if you were there last Friday,
that's
that
limited.
was very full.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was very, very, very full. And of course, it all depends on what your visiting team brings. And Lincoln County brought 4 buses.
Yeah.
So, and 2 trailers.
I didn't realize that.
So
I don't realize a lot of stuff.
It was very, very
5
full
o'clock
over there.
on
But again, we do our best. We run shuttle buses. Park down at the Andy Kinder practice facility down there in the softball field parking lot. And then, of course, the front of the school and the side of the school by the VOAG, and we just run shuttles.
Yeah.
And put them through the front of the school so you can walk through the school instead of walking all the way around. And if you can't walk, you can buy your ticket, and then the shuttle will take you up to the field and drop you off.
I think it's not a bad situation when I'm talking about the shuttle buses from down at Andy Kinder Field. When people think about it in their heads, they're like, well, I'm used to parking, let's say, up at where the middle school is now. They were used to parking there and walking the short trip. Well, park down below and get a shuttle bus right up to the front gate.
Right.
You're walking less.
You're walking less.
You just have
Right.
to get on a shuttle bus. I mean,
Correct.
It's just it's a minor inconvenience, I think, and I hope that people at this point have lost all the ire for the new situation that you just have to deal with.
And when the new school's built, we're still going to be in the same situation.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little bit of parking in front of the new school. The biggest part is the traffic flow will be easier because they'll have that access road next to the school, and
Yeah.
we can use that. But the parking as we used to know 2 years ago is gone.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is.
So just deal with it, people.
right.
I don't know if I'm yelling at the trees or not. There could be nobody complaining about it at this point, but I just have a fear that people are still mumbling or grumbling
And
or something.
after this year, when we've played with 2 years of it, both sets of schools, you play home and away, have dealt with it now.
Yeah.
So even the visitors coming in the future years will probably know what's going on. But
Yeah.
so it's still a surprise for some people now because they haven't been there yet.
And it will get a little better after construction's done and the
Right.
far end zone behind the scoreboard's
Cleaned
cleaned out.
Yeah.
And there becomes parking down there. That's definitely going to help, but we're still a year away from that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it'll be it'll be good. People get used to it at that point.
That's right.
People get used to it. Yeah, we got new teams on the schedule this year, so they're all figuring this stuff out for the first time. But we do expect a healthy crowd there. You would hope this would be one of the bigger gates for the high school of all of them this year because it is a close rivalry, it's a close match, and they're wanting to get back on track. They don't want to lose 2 in a row to start the season. We want to stay undefeated. We want to go 3-0.
Right.
And so I would expect a major crowd for this one. So come early, go down and park at the Andy Kinder practice facility and get yourself a bus ride up quickly.
That's right.
And get yourself in the stands very quickly. We got a couple things going on there. It is the Military Appreciation Night, Coach.
Yep.
And and it's not just you guys wearing the jerseys, which is cool, obviously.
Yeah, so not only are we going to wear the jerseys, but anybody that is current or former military, any branch, as long as you show your ID, you are in the game free, right, Coach Ford?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I would imagine probably halftime they're going to ask those people to stand, and they will honor them at halftime. And then, of course, like we said, we're wearing the jerseys and that type of stuff. So but it's a military appreciation game, and it's all about the military Friday night.
And last year they had a big tent set up, big blow-up tent for the Army National Guard. I think it may be informational, something like that, maybe be talking with each other. I thought this really cool thing that I don't know if it's just the West Virginia National Guard that's doing this, or if it's statewide, or if it's other states that are getting involved. If it's the National Guard throughout the country, but I think it's a really cool thing to get those two things involved together: high school sports and that National Guard unit. And I know we've got local participation in that. Jake Watson, obviously, very, very well involved in that. And so it's really cool to have that. And this is the second year we've done it as Roane County. So that's a neat extra thing to have. So if you're a current or former military member, just bring your ID and you'll get in for free for that, and you get recognized as well. So that'll be a cool extra add on to an already going to be an intense environment, I guarantee you. So we get back to getting ready for this team in Clay County. You said you've had a good week of practice so far. I just wanted to say hi to Jim Deem out there. He's always tuning in with us. Bart Harper, tuning in, giving an update real quick on Shay. Made it through the surgery very well. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to Shay yet today.
I've been snapping with him as we talk. And I talked to Erica. Obviously, she messaged me as soon as I actually messaged her before he went. Then I messaged her again about an hour and a half later, and then when he was out of surgery, she let me know, and then let me know when he was on her way home. But I've been back and forth with Shay, which, by the way, Coach Ford, Shay said that he was watching a sexy guy on the radio review, and I said, I will let Coach Ford know.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bald is beautiful.
Yeah. He obviously didn't say who, but I just assumed.
Just assumed.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Well, you can see some of me on the video. Maybe it's me.
Maybe it is you.
It could be you.
It's not me. Good to hear, though, that the surgery went well, and, of course, now on the road to recovery. And, obviously, thoughts and prayers with Shay and the family, and hopefully that goes well. Hopefully he's able to come back stronger than ever whenever he gets back. And looking forward to seeing that kid on a basketball court, on a football field, on a track, because he's just good. He's just good at sports.
Yeah. I sent him a message today and told him that today was step one on the road to 2,000 yards next year.
There you go. There you go. And we got some studs around him right now helping out. Yeah. A lot of guys pitching in and running the ball very, very well the first couple of games. So, obviously, you guys like to run the ball. You've shown, again, this ability, and I'm really excited about the way the young guys on the line are meshing with the couple of returning starters. And it's always a good thing when you're not talking about the O-line on a broadcast. So we're not singling them out much. There's not really major issues we're seeing. They're doing a pretty good job just from our vantage point, but you guys get to go break down film afterwards. What is your assessment so far in the first two games with the cohesiveness of the line?
I think they've been really solid. I think we did a really good job in both games. It's not perfect every play, but it's not going to be. There's still going to be some miscommunications and some missed assignments, just as there are in other positions, but, three of those guys are just starting in their third game. And then you got one on the left of the center that's starting in his 30-plus game. And then you've got another who is getting ready to be number 15 here. So there's a wide range of experience there, but the work ethic's there, the attitude's there, and Coach Peary, who is obviously our defense coordinator, but also doubles as the offensive line coach, he does a really good job with those guys, and they understand their role and they understand their assignments very well. And I really feel like they're getting better each and every week, and we've seen an array of fronts as we've gone to. Against Warren, they were in an odd front, and then you go to Wirt, and they would be in an odd, they'd be in an even, and you go to Shady, and they were in everything you could think of.
Yes.
And then last week with Lincoln County, you got a 4, but you had a lot of blitzing. So we've kind of seen a smorgasbord of what you could see up front early on, and those guys have done a really good job, I feel, of absorbing that, understanding it, and putting whatever their assignment is into the front or the scheme that they see in front of them.
Well, obviously, the ability to run the football is incredibly important to you guys every game. Establishing the run now with the ability to throw that pass is very important. I like the way you guys have mixed up the play calling. I think that it's been the right things at the right time, and they've executed, especially in that second half, the first couple of weeks. So hopefully that happens earlier on in this game. We'll flip sides again. Obviously, I want to talk about the passing game of Clay County. Obviously dangerous. 4 receivers, including B.J. Williams, he's a problem for people. And the first couple of weeks of the season, you had some passing quarterbacks. The second half, you really did great, I think, with the up-the-middle pressure on Green, causing him some problems. I thought that you really got pressure before last week, before Joheim went out. And he really, after that, Atkins wasn't really a throwing quarterback, so it was kind of hard to gauge that. But obviously, this is a quarterback who sits back in the pocket. He's 6 yards deep, and he likes to have a little bit of time. And if he does, he likes to just chuck it around. Now, he's got some wheels. He can get out of the pocket and still look downfield. But I would imagine that pressuring Noah Collins is of the utmost importance to try to get him to deliver early, to maybe get a little happy feet? I don't know.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, really. As a coach, you gotta step back and try to figure out which is the worst of the evil. You know, do you pressure him and take guys out of coverage, or do you sit back in coverage and give him time to throw the ball? So, you know, it's a tough decision, and either way, he can make you wrong. And all those guys have the ability to get open and make plays. So, you know, it's definitely a tough plan to come up with, but I feel like, you know, we've made a good decision, and what we've worked on all week, hopefully, is the right defense.
Well, I like that you said that. You said that last year a couple times too. Is you said, listen, all we can do is look at the film, prepare the best we can, and if we've had a great week of practice, and we think we've got a great plan going in, there it is.
And obviously, you know, each week comes with a new plan, depending on what type of offense, depends on what type of defense, what type of coverage, what's your scheme up front, all that stuff. So it changes for us. It changes week to week because we don't, you know, there's not 80 guys on our team, and we're not going to say, hey, we're a 42 team, or we're a 44 team, or we're an odd stack team, and that's what we're going to be in no matter what. You know, so. You got to scheme, and you got to come up with what you feel like is the best plan, and you know, we watch a lot of film, and we feel like that we've got a good idea of what they want to do. Now, obviously, Clay's had a bye week at week 2, and so maybe they got some stuff we haven't seen, and we've got to be ready for that as well.
A lot of it on the field is the way you adjust quickly. You find out what's happening while it's happening. So it's going to be an interesting night. I know it's always a good rivalry game, and I'm looking forward to it, just as I'm sure everybody in Roane County and everybody in Clay County is for that one. And again, Toby Ford, parking down over the Andy Kinder practice field, parking in front of the school and over on the Meats Lab side. You can walk through the school to cut off the time there, or you can get yourself a ride up on the shuttle buses. And again, parking up there at the facility only for handicap and for the coaching staffs and the just like the game administration, coaching staffs, whatever that is as well. And, of course, it's going to be Military Appreciation Night. The West Virginia National Guard will have, I'm assuming they'll have a tent set up. Toby, do you know for sure? They brought one last year, so I would assume.
They usually have an informational tent set up somewhere around the concession stand area, somewhere in the area.
Yeah. So that'll be going on. We'll get to wear the Digi Camo jerseys, which is always cool, except for me because I can't see. And
they are very tough to see.
Luckily, I know body types for us, so I'll be okay with the starters. I'll be okay there.
I did hear him say that they got to change their jerseys up next year because of the new rule. There's got to be there has to be a contrast between the numbers and the material. Like our gray jerseys, we're not legally allowed to wear them after this year, just because of you got the dark gray and you got the dark maroon, and even though there's a white stripe between it, there's not enough contrast. So any type of new jersey has to have a white number.
Well, let me just tell you this, and Toby, I think you were there a couple years ago. Braxton County basketball, they wore black uniforms with forest green letters with nothing surrounding them.
It's impossible.
And I was in the basketball facility.
It's impossible.
And I couldn't see anything. Now, Toby's colorblind. He was even worse off than I was.
He didn't even know what color they were to start with. Right, Toby?
They're wearing jerseys.
Understandable.
Well, folks, 7 o'clock is the pregame for us on the radio side of things, and kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. Coach Burdett, time to switch hats. Unless you want to give it to AD Toby Ford if he's been watching the weather. I mean,
Toby's not really the same meteorologist type guy that I am.
No.
Okay.
I just am, because sometimes I have to put up.
He's WSAZ, you're WCHS.
Which is obviously much better.
Listen, I'm a Brandon Stover fan. Leave me alone.
Hey, Brandon Stover also does Wild West Virginia. So
yes, he does.
He's a double-up guy. I like that. It's been hot, right?
Yes.
It's been hot, but there's a little bit of a cold front coming through. Tomorrow's supposed to be low 80s, and then I think Friday is actually 80, and so by kickoff you're probably looking at low 70s, I would imagine. So it'll be good high school football weather Friday night.
Fantastic. I'm tired of sweating doing nothing.
And if you want to get your hopes up a lot, they say next week there could be days that are high 60s.
Yeah. Make me giddy.
Fall time.
That's
Fantastic.
fine. That's fine until the next week it's in the hundreds again. So.
Don't think that. Hey, we're not allowed to think ahead here. We're only talking about Friday night.
Yeah, well, you said 3-0, and you know that's not what I want to be Friday night.
You want to be 1-0 Friday night.
And thank you.
I had to correct myself on that one.
You made me cringe. You said that's all we want to be Friday night.
Appreciate it, Coach Burdett. Now, since Toby Ford is taking the place of John Penna,
Yeah, he's got the last word.
you get the last word.
The last word.
Yep. It's tradition, even when John's not here.
Yeah.
You got it.
It's tradition. You get the last word.
Go Raiders.
A man of few words. Technically, I get the last words, but he gets the last important words. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow night, Lady Raider volleyball action. They will be hosting Webster County JV on the air at 6 p.m. with video only on our YouTube and Facebook channels. Varsity at 7 p.m., audio and video. I'll be there. Hopefully, Coach Peary gets done eating quickly enough to get down for half of that game at least. And then, of course, Friday night, it is Roane County and Clay County in high school football action. This could be a doozy. 7:05 pregame action, and the kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. on WVRC. For our entire crew here tonight, Coach Paul Burdett, AD Toby Ford, and Andrew Miller, have a wonderful Wednesday night.
Since 2019, DW Excavating has been serving Roane and surrounding counties. We offer services including, but not limited to, repairing driveways, construction site preparation, drainage solutions, property brush clearing, farm road construction, culvert repair and installation, and utility line installation and repair. We provide free estimates. Check out our Facebook page or contact us at 30